a simple interface, removing unnecessary elements. I also think Google's material design is going to be a big trend. I think we're going to see a lot of people that have variations on that. The idea of elements floating or cards, of floating cards, and a lot of content appearing like that. I think that's another trend that we'll see in UIs. In terms of specific colors, it's hard for me to say like if one color is in or one color is out. I think in general, the trends revolve around that distinction between true flat and skew or heterozygote.
But why the flat design is more preferable right now? Do you have any idea why it's gonna be?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a pendulum. I think it's just something that swings back and forth. And like earlier, I mentioned this idea that if every app looks one way, you can distinguish yourself by looking a different way. And then everyone starts to go towards the other way. And now everything looks like this. You distinguish yourself by being the opposite. So in the beginning of developing computers, things were kind of flat by necessity. You know, we couldn't do detailed shading and really detailed illustrations on our computer screens. And with the ability to do that, we started adding in more of these shadows and these gradients and these effects and the light from above. And things became looking like they were glass, looking like they were shiny. And then I think that sort of reached its peak around the early 2000s. And now that's when the pendulum started swinging towards flat. And Apple took a huge step towards that with iOS 7. And then a lot of people followed suit. But I think already the pendulum is starting to come back towards the middle where people say, hey, that's actually really far. We don't need something that's totally flat. That doesn't help necessarily. So what I would recommend is I wouldn't design apps that are completely flat. Because I don't think that's just one end of the spectrum. And what's going to be longer term and what I think we're going to see more and more of is something in the middle. Yes?
Though this my question is a little bit off track. Which things we need to consider during app logo design or app icon designing when I'm designing app icons? Which things I'm looking first if there are any principles?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think a logo is unique in that the feel that you want to give to the app, whether it's serious or sporty or fun or for kids, the feel is very distilled in the logo. So the logo has to represent that feel. For the whole app, you have different colors, different fonts that you can work with. There's a lot of different things you can use to give the feel. But in the logo, it all has to be there. So the logo is really sort of a difficult endeavor, and I think there's designers who specialize in logos, and I don't specialize in logos. I don't make logos for my clients because I think there's enough extra skills and extra thought process where I'd rather focus on the UI at large rather than just specifically logos.
So you don't do logos at all?
Not really. Yeah. If one of my clients needs a logo, typically what I'll do is make some sort of mock-up that I think works. Maybe it's just text, or maybe it's text with a very simple graphical element. And maybe at some point I will start doing logos, but right now I've made a conscious decision to try and master UI and UX, and that's what I focus on.
Okay, so far today's session was more of a UI focus, right?
Yes.
So do you want to share a few things about the UX in one or two lines?
Sure. So I think the most important thing, wow, boiling it down to one or two lines is really difficult. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about UX, and then I'll give you the name of an article that I think is perhaps the best writing on UX that I've read. And then you can go through that at your own time. So UX, in the same way that we always try and have in UI design a justification for why things are a certain way. Like we talk about why did we pick this blue color? What does it remind us of in the real world? And like this orange, how it reminds us of like a light or something like a car dashboard display. And we always try and have these connections and these rationales for design decisions in UI. With UX, that's even more important. I think with UX, all the reasons for doing something ultimately boil down to the reason for the app. So the app has to solve a problem for a specific person or a specific type of person. And the bigger the problem, the better. And in that sense, you're making an app to fill a problem, and everything that goes into that app should be part of solving that problem. So I think always keeping in mind, what is the rationale for this app? What problem does this app exist to solve? And that allows you to make UX decisions more clearly. Because if you know you're solving a problem for a specific person or type of person, you better understand, here's what they know, here's what they don't know, and here's what that means for what my app is going to look like. With UX, I never really kind of thought through in the same way of UI. Like I really kind of boiled this down to some principles for UI. About adding a lot of white space and using particular fonts and a specific way of working with colors or putting text on top of images. I don't have a specific set of rules like that for UX. I think those are things that are a little more abstract and a little more difficult to get. A lot of them involve motion or changes in state over time. But one thing I would say about UX, and really one of the big difficulties with it, is when you're designing UX, it is a constant battle to try and see your app with the eyes of someone who has never seen it. And that's a really, really hard thing to do. And I think it is so hard that that's why UX designers exist in the first place. If I'm developing an app and I work on it 8 hours a day, every day, eventually I lose touch. I forget what it's like to have never seen that app before. And so as a UX designer, my job is to always see things with fresh eyes. And that's really hard. And a lot of times with UX, that's why it's so valuable to work with others, because you can bounce ideas off of each other and you can continually not get stuck in your own brain. But when you can put yourself in the brain of that user who's never seen it, then you can say, okay, this is what I expect, this is what I need, this is what I want. Where are those things? Are they where I expect? How is the app laid out? What do I think of this app? What am I confused by? Another critical thing with UX is the value of testing. Like in design, it's thought of as a creative field because it's so open. I can do this, I can do a million different things. But there's really sort of an objective metric in UX, and that is, if I give the app to someone who is the target user, can they use it? Does it solve their problem? Do they like it? And the test can be very high level, where they say, yes, it solves my problem, or not. Or very low level test. I could watch them use it. I could watch where they hesitate. I could listen to them as they ask questions. What does this mean? Or I could watch as they make mistakes. They think something is in one place and they go somewhere else. All of those things reveal what it's like to be in their mind and help me as a designer to put myself there. So even though UX is also this creative field and that there's a million ways to solve a problem, there's also this objective standard, which is if I really like a design and I give it and I have the app and I give it to the user and they can't use it, they don't get it, and it doesn't solve their problem, then it's no good. And what I would say is maybe that's the most important part of being a UX designer. If you can only do one thing, even if you don't consider yourself very good at wireframing or very good at figuring out where stuff should go on a screen, test the app. Test it. You can draw it out on paper and test it with paper. You can just have users press where they would press on the screen, and you can switch between mockups that you have. Do whatever it takes so that you can test what you're doing and make sure it's useful to the people who you want to use it. The name of the article that I think is the best piece on UX that I've read is called Magic Ink, and it's by a guy named Brett Victor. And I'll try and remember to add a link to that. It's a very long article, and it was written maybe 5 years ago, but it's a very good summary of trying to get inside the head of the user and trying to make software like all that it can be, to make software a good tool for users.
One thing, maybe we need some idea about that UI design. So icon, you don't tell anything about icons today. Can you please?
Sure.
How actually the icon when we made for app, what things we have to be remembered before we make the icon?
Yeah. Now, are you talking about like the app icon, like the logo, or little icons in the app?
Or also the little icon.
Okay.
Both of them.
What I would recommend is, I mean, there's a lot to icons, and it's something we could talk about at great length. What I think is the most useful thing to say here is go to Dribble, just to start out with, and somewhere there's a search. Wow, I have a bucket for it. I have a bucket where I've collected icons somewhere. Oh no, these are my buckets. Alright, we should take just 1 minute here. Okay. So here's just a bunch of icons that I've collected, and I like all of these. And whenever it comes time for me to design icons for my clients, and these are mostly in-app icons, these are not the homepage icons that represent the whole app. But these are things, it's weird, that I try and design for my clients. And whenever I have to design one, I'll usually come here and I'll start looking around at what styles have already been done. Now, all of these, for the most part, they're pretty simple. They're generally like a white and then a background color, or they're a specific color and then they're on a white background or a very light background. So each of them kind of has a little bit of a different style, right? These are certainly more colorful and rounded and kind of fun. But for most apps, I don't really need something quite like this. I may be more interested in looking at the shape. With these, I like these because they're just kind of small. I think these are good for a lot of different apps. They're small, they're not in the way, and it's easy to see what they represent. And for whatever reason, I think a lot of the icons that I found on Dribble are actually better than the icon fonts that you find online. So I don't know if I have any specific lessons for designing these. Typically, like you can do this in Sketch or Illustrator. You really should use a vector program to design icons rather than like a raster editor like Photoshop. And yeah, so I don't know if I have any specific lessons for designing them, but again, I would just when you see icons that work, I would look and I would try and think in your mind, why does this make sense for here? If I like this, why do I like this? Or if I don't like it, why do I not like it? And really kind of trying to break it down.
When we present a design,
Yes.
like there is a style like a mock-up.
Yes.
This is so interesting when you present someone. Do you have any suggestion about how mock-up is more beautiful?
So you're talking about like this kind of mock-up?
No.
No. Okay.
Final design.
Final design.
Present someone like I have a client. I am going to present the design, actually, final
Yes.
design, right?
Yes.
Not the total execution. So do you have any suggestion about the mock-up? How is it coming?
Well, I think.
How do you present actually the design?
Oh, okay, how to present it. So do you mean like visually,
Visual.
how it should look, or do you mean my style in presenting?
Your style you can share with us.
Okay, so I think this is something that I've improved a lot at, I think, over time. Because when I started out as a designer, what I tended to do was go from like someone reading a PowerPoint and say, well, at the top there's this, and then in the middle there's this, and then at the bottom there's this. That's not a good style, like, because people can see it. They see what's at the top, they see what's in the middle, they see what's at the bottom. What's better, I think, is to start with the goals. Okay, so for me now, whenever I have a new client, I always ask them, what are the goals of the project? The business goals. Well, okay, the business goals are we want it to have this general feel, and we want it to target this sort of person, and we want them, to use it when they're doing this, or when they have this problem. And really try and be able to relate all the design decisions to those goals. If someone says, yes, here's my goal for this app, I want this many users, and it needs to look kind of like this feel, and it's got to be fresh and modern, and I want it to spread. I want people to share it with their friends, let's say. Then what I would do is talk about how it makes it easy for users to share with their friends, and how the share functionality is really visible and it's present in different places in the app. And if they said, yeah, I want it to look really cool and sleek and attractive to young people, then I would talk about those looks. I'd say, hey, we use these colors so that it looks sleek and cool. Or we use this font because this font is cool. And instead of presenting visually top to bottom, just present goal-based. Here's the most important goal. Here's what in the design achieves the goal. Here's the second most important goal. Here's what in the design achieves the goal. And go down the list. And I found, I maybe the other designers in the room will agree with me. There tends to be, when presenting design, anyone can make a suggestion about what color something should be. And sometimes it's not a good suggestion. Someone will say, move that thing here, make this bigger, make this red, make this blue, make it whatever color. Okay, sometimes that's a good idea. A lot of times that's not a good idea. And moving things and changing color and all that, that's not everyone else's job. So I want, as a designer, to keep the decision focused, or to keep the conversation focused on goals. So if I'm working with the business, or if you're working with, say, the rest of your team, you're presenting a design to the executives. The executives are the experts at the business goals, and you want to be the expert at the design. So it's just meeting in the middle. So then, if the CEO says, well, you should move that button there. It's like, hold on, how does that help with the goals? And it doesn't? Okay, we're not gonna move that button. And I've gotten a lot of mileage out of trying to keep conversations about design focused on, is it meeting the goals or is it not meeting the goals? And that's been useful for me in presentations.
Do you have any suggestion about a designer become practice every day, or is okay? Do you have any suggestion about the practice for a designer?
Yeah.
What kind of practice that they can do to develop their skill, their knowledge, and their
That's such a good question, because I think practice is the only way to do it. And if you're dedicated in practicing, you will get better. And you will get better quickly, and you'll be able to see it. And it's very worthwhile. I think there's a number of ways to practice as a designer. One is, if you're not a designer, are you talking about yourself or maybe someone else?
No, myself.
Okay. And are you a designer right now, or are you
Yeah.
You're a designer right now? Okay. So what I would do is think about what do you want to be good at. For me, I said I want to be good at UI and UX. I don't want to be good at logos. I don't want to be good at posters. I don't care if I'm good at posters. I don't care if I'm good at logos. I don't care if I'm good at drawing characters on a like animation, Disney characters. I want to be good at UI and I want to be good at UX. So I picked the scope, and then I said, what is the weakest link? What is the weakest link in the chain of skills? Is it, let's look at UI skills. UI skills might include, is it coloring? Is it my color? Is it my icons? Are my icons just not good enough? Is it, say, layout and spacing? My layout doesn't quite seem right. Well, pick whatever aspect it is that you want to improve, and what I recommend is look at what, just all the way, every time you find an image where you say, that's good color, and you want to get better at color, take a screenshot, save the image, put it in the folder, and then you can make exercises for yourself. Recreate the design. This is a technique that many people have been doing for centuries, even writers. They'll write out every word that another writer has written. They call it copy work. And the idea is, say I like the writer Ernest Hemingway. If I write out Ernest Hemingway, I start to feel his sentences. I start to feel how he uses words. In the same way, if I find a great design and I copy it pixel for pixel, and I recreate it exactly right, then I start to think about, oh, they put 8 pixels here. Oh, they used this kind of white with maybe 80% opacity here. Oh, they made the image this big rather than this big. Oh, there's this much line spacing. And all of these factors I have to think about. I have to think about everything that they did. And so I recreate that design pixel for pixel, and then I start to absorb some of the ideas there. And then in my own, so I would say, if you want to improve at color, find the best color designs and try and recreate them. If you want to improve at spacing, find designs that look very neat, organized, and well spaced, and then go and recreate those. I think very quickly, what is your weakest link will soon become much stronger. And that's something that I've done, and I've just been very pleased with the results. All right. Any other questions? Great. All right, thank you so much.
I have a last question, if you don't mind. Can you, what is the composition in a design? How is the value of the composition in design? And can you have any suggestion about the composition? What can you prefer when you do composition in design?
What do you mean by the composition?
Composition means the arrangement of the elements. If there is a priority things we need to remember when we compose it in design. Like is left, is right, why is button is left, why is button is right, why is the top? If there is any suggestion.
Yeah. There's a lot to it, right? I don't. Generally, people go top to bottom and left to right. So the more important things are going to be a lot of times at the left, or they're going to be centered on the headline, or they're going to be the full width. I don't know. There's so many considerations that go into composition. Like, even if we went to the page here, like you could ask, why did I put these buttons at the right? And for this, I said, hey, if we have a touch, if it's on a phone, and we're going to be touching the link. On a website, I might have it as a link right here to change, but for a phone, it needs to be its own tap target, and it needs to have a little more space. So I could put it off to the right. And having it on the same line, you can see that the change is related to the billing info, and the other change is related to the shipping info. So, that's why I made that decision. With something like, why did I center this title? I don't know, because when it was the last font, when we used Helvetica, I thought it looked better to the left. When we used this new font, Aperçu, I thought it looked better centered. So it's tough for me to give a rationale for that. I think everything sort of has its own use case, and if that was what you wanted to improve at, I would just look. I would pay attention to an app that you feel is really well designed, and just try and come up with every reason for why they could put something somewhere versus somewhere else.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So can I have your email address, please?
Yes. Okay. So
If I have any question, I can mail you.
that is absolutely yes. Yes. Boom. There it is. Yes, feel free to email me with any questions about design, any success stories. If you found this stuff in this useful, if you found yourself thinking about this down the road, I'd love to know about it. I'd love to know.
Do you use Facebook?
I do use Facebook.
Can I, can you friend in Facebook?
Yes, and that email should find me. Yeah. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have down the road too.
I have questions.
Starting now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Could you differentiate with responsive website, responsive or Twitter bootstrap website or UI in comparison of mobile apps? UI.
When do I use a responsive website? When do I use a mobile, like a native mobile app?
Nowadays, which I'm watching or that responsive website is somehow placing responsive
As a responsive website is like a
It is.
file when you make. You know, this automatically is converted when you see the mobile. There is a different way to show.
right.
So, what is your question actually?
সেটা আসলে এরকম যে যেহেতু এটা মোবাইল রেসপন্সিভ ওয়েবসাইটটা মোবাইল ওয়েবসাইট ইউআইটা কিন্তু মোবাইল ইউআই জায়গাটা হিসেবে দখল করে নিচ্ছে একই লোক কেন মোবাইলের জন্য একটা অ্যাপস তৈরি করবে আর এসের জন্য একটা ওয়েবসাইটের জন্য আলাদা তৈরি করবে কেন তৈরি করবে?
Oh, okay. So why we different kind of design like someone's making responsive app design, someone's mobile application design. Is that necessary to different kind of design we need to learn?
So
We are a designer. We
যেমন তো
can.
সেরকম যে
Can one designer do
রেসপন্সিভ
both?
সাইটটা তৈরি করছে একই কাস্টমার সে যাচ্ছে যে তার ওয়েবে যা দেখাবে হয়তো মোবাইলের জন্য একটু ডিফারেন্ট দেখাবে রেসপন্সিভ আমার গুগলের মোবাইল কোনো ডিভাইসের জন্য সে সেট করে নিচ্ছে মোবাইলের জন্য তো একটা কম ডিজাইনটা করছে অন্য আদার ডিভাইস
Another challenge is some design like we have a
মোবাইল
mobile application, pure app design.
আমার ধারণা
Some
সময় দেখা
client
গেল যে
they need
বুটস্ট্র্যাপ
actually the
রেসপন্সিভ
responsive
সাইটগুলো এই অ্যাপসে যা করতে হবে
So this is both design, like web design and app design.
Yeah.
It is some little challenge for app design, for also a web designer.
Yeah.
So what should we do? What is your solution?
So sounds like there's many parts to this question, and one is, can one designer do both? And I think yes, one designer could design a mobile web app or mobile website, and also do the mobile app. And it sounds like another part of your question was, what are the differences to keep in mind, especially if you have both? Is the mobile website the exact same as the mobile app? And I think no. A mobile website, I feel, should always be lighter. It should be very quick to load. It should use, say, less animations. It should have less moving elements. It shouldn't do it. Really, a mobile website should not be processor intensive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And in comparison of mobile apps, there is towards faster than that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, mobile apps, you certainly have a lot more leeway for animations and scrolling and different behaviors. And those can kind of have a wow factor. Whereas mobile websites, I think, should really just be simple so that they load quickly and people can get the information they need.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Go.
Thank you, Erik.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
This is my card. Great. It's a good conversation we had.
Thank you. Thanks for asking all the questions too.
I have many things, idea, new things.
Mhm.
Pardon me, sir, Carla,
You just
it's the
tell me
most
the point.
wonderful session.
Great.
I like it.
Good. I'm glad you like it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You just tell me.
Name and the.
Okay. Yes. So I'll make sure to send that to everyone. Thank you.
Presently,
আপনি যদি আমার করেছি আপনি জানার কথা আপনি স্কলারশিপে ম্যানেজ করবেন আর সার্টিফিকেট কখন দেবেন সার্টিফিকেটটা বসে দিলে এখন অবশ্যই আপনার দিয়ে ছবিটা কিছু করে দিলাম তারপর কলেজে পাঠাবো সেই অ্যাড্রেস আপনি এখানে আপনারা সবাই যারা আমাদের এই সাবজেক্টের দ্বারা আপনি আমরা সার্টিফিকেট পুরোটার কমপ্লিশন একটা সার্টিফিকেট আপনাদের অফিসে পাঠিয়ে দেবেন আর যদি কোনো জায়গায় সংগ্রহ করেন শুরু তাহলে সার্টিফিকেট কি আপনাদের আগামীকালকে আমাদের অফিসে তারা অ্যাটেন্ড করছে তাদের মধ্যে দিয়ে দিল স্টলও নিচ্ছেন আপনারাও স্টল দিচ্ছেন ডিজিটাল ওয়ার্ল্ডে আমরা মনে দিয়ে দিয়েছি ওখানে দেখা ডিজিটাল ওয়ার্ল্ডে থাকবো কি এটা ওয়ার্ল্ডে দিয়েছিল আমার পেমেন্ট পৌঁছে যাবে ডিজিটাল আপনি থাকবেন হ্যাঁ আমি থাকবো তখনই করে একটা ঝামেলা হবে কালকে থেকে কিছু আর আগামীকালকে আপনাদের এখান থেকে কোনো পার্টিসিপেন্ট গেলে হ্যাঁ কে কে যাচ্ছে বলে আমাদের অফিসে ওনার হাতে দিলে হলো অথবা আমি করবো জামান সাহেব তো যাবে ওখানে যাবে হ্যাঁ ও গায়ে হাতে দিলেও হবে আমি পেয়ে দেবো কোনো ব্যাপার না ওনার আমার দুজন একটা দিয়ে দিলে ওকে কোনো অসুবিধা নেই ওকে থ্যাংক ইউ আশা করি আপনাদের বলার পেয়েছেন থ্যাংক ইউ আপনি অবশ্য বলেছিলেন যে আসবে ঠিক আছে So I think you're packed up. You're all done here. So have been able to find a church which has a session for
already we're rocking. I think the sessions are going on because someone is picking up the phone.
we were busy in this session. And call the church. Yeah.
Church.
The nearest one, there is a church not even involved. I'm not sure what kind of church. Catholic.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I think these are Catholics.
And that's what we call it the Holy Ghost Mary Church.
Yeah, okay. Do you know the location?
Beside Holy Cross.
Okay. How about the one right across the street? It's got a VR church. It's a huge old church.
With the government, but it is architecture.
Nah, isso chama isso lá, but
I don't think it's